Hey YouTube, this is the first of a series of videos I'm going to be making on the Badland Buggy ST2. This one here has been modified from the stock plans quite a bit, and this is the video I wish I would have had when I started this project. And so if there's other guys like me who are thinking about building a single seat mini buggy, as they're called, this is some of the helpful things I did to make the project work. Keeping in mind this is my second iteration on this buggy. It used to have a snowmobile engine from a Polaris. Now it has a GSXR 600 sport bike engine. I couldn't figure out the clutching to save my life, so I just went with a different engine combo. The ability to shift gears is so much better than the CVT that the Polaris snowmobile came with. I'm sure if I put enough time into it, I probably could have figured it out, but this was the better way to go at the time. So the first video I'm going to make is going to be on the front suspension. Everything I did that was different from the plans, and then we'll work our way back so you guys get an idea of some of the lessons learned here. So to begin, you'll notice the upper shock mounts are way different than the stock. I'd say these are about an inch or so too high based on how far I get this bumper to move on full compression. Neat trick you guys can do is slide these all the way up when you start riding, and then you'll know how far your shock is being compressed throughout the day. So yesterday is about that far. So some of the things that the plans didn't include were limiting straps. I got these from Mackenzie's. They're pretty sweet. I don't have adjustable ones on the front, so I had to nail the installation on the rear. They're adjustable. So limiting straps, bump stops, a little piece welded here, and I think these are urethane. I don't remember where I bought them, but pretty simple installation. The plans have you put those little like cotter pins through the end of your 1/2-inch rod. So a couple things I did here was I abandoned the cotter pin idea. I thought that was terrible. I did try it and it didn't work very well. And I just welded on a nut to the end of the rod that goes through the whole, this upper piece. And I also increased the size of that rod to 9/16. And then on the other side, the reason I went to 9/16 is so I could put this bolt directly into the rod. So that rod goes all the way through here and then ends right at the end. And then I tapped the end of it and put this flanged bolt on. I think it turned out pretty good. And then the flange on the bolt goes over and impacts this tab. So that's how it gets held on there. It's a lot slicker than the cotter pin idea. Okay, then the limiting straps is just a tube with a notch cut in it and a hole through. So it's a super simple way to make one of those if you want to do it that way. So these are the Fox gas shocks. They work okay. They're really cheap, and for the front suspension, I'm happy with them. I tried them on the rear, but it didn't work very well, so I went with the coilovers, but we'll get to that. Okay, so then the next thing you'll notice are these Heim joints here are much bigger than what the stock called for. These are McMaster part. I'll put the part number in the description. And I kid you not, on my first test drive with this thing, the arm here bent within like 200 feet. So the way that the plans have you build that is really weak. So what I did was I put this extra piece on the bottom here, and then, you know, squared it all in. And then I used the same rod end as here as I did here, so it makes for spares a lot easier to, you don't have to have two different kinds. And this is much larger. It's a 1/2 inch thread, you know, fine, but okay. So then the steering linkage here, the tie rod. This is all custom. It's these are bungs. I think that's also McMaster part. These bungs, you can't tell that they're a separate piece than the rod, but they are welded in here. And then you get the left hand and the right hand, so you just turn the thing to adjust. Okay, so then this end here is just a left-handed thread with 2 tabs welded on both sides. Kind of see how I did that. And then the steering rack also has been modified. It is the one that the plan recommends. However, I replaced these rod ends in the end to something much stronger. The ones that came with, they're kind of a joke. These are much better. Okay, and then the plans have you use this and this for connecting your shock to. At one point on this buggy, I did have coilovers where the stock shocks mount, and then also with the gas. I ended up taking those coilovers out and then just increasing the gas charge to get the effect we needed. And then I still don't have front brakes, but honestly, if you've driven one of these things, take your foot off the gas pedal and you're braking really fast because of the live axle. But the front brakes would be nice for getting some weight transfer for turning, but we'll get there someday. Okay, so then up front, the other thing, these body panels, these are held on with dual lock. It's a 3M product, and you just put these little tabs on there, and I haven't had a problem with this coming off, and clearly it makes it for removal really simple. You can see my brake master cylinder comes into the front area here to give me a bunch more foot room.